Welcome, welcome, welcome to Empowered Women in Business International. I'm your host, Nicole Mosby Taylor, also known as Taylor K on the mic, and you are in for a treat. We have a very special guest in our virtual studio for you this evening, and I will be introducing her momentarily. But before then, let me just tell you a little bit about EWBI. So, we serve a sisterhood of women entrepreneurs who understand that individually you can do great things, but collectively we can forever change the world. Members of our movement experience a support system that allows them to celebrate their wins and share their struggles in a series of opportunities that enhance them personally and professionally. If that sounds like an organization that you would like to be a part of, visit our website at www.ewbiradio.org. Our quote of the day. So, our quote of the day is "The first wealth is health" by Ralph Emerson. The first wealth is health by Ralph Ellerson. And that really speaks to me because, most people, when you hear wealth, you think of what? Money. But wealth is so much more than just money. It is our health. And it just reminds me of when you're on that airplane and the stewardess tells you that in order for you to help the next person, you had to take care of yourself first, right? So even though that thing may drop and you want to put it on your child first, we understand that we have to put it on ourselves first so that we can be a help for our child or senior or whoever that is that we want to help. Same thing with our with our health, is that we have to take care of ourselves in order for us to be any good for anyone else. So, with that being said, I'm going to bring our guest on, and you'll understand why I chose that quote for today. So, we are going to bring to the stage none other than Miss Kimberly Ellis. She is the chef and owner of Breaking Bread, Breaking Bread Nation. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I felt like I should have had a drum roll going on,
I
like.
was waiting to hear it. I was like, okay, the way you gave the introduction, the lead up, I was waiting. Drum roll. That's all.
Oh, good, good, good. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. So, Kim, we have you all to ourselves for a whole hour.
Yeah.
So, we're going to start off with just telling us who is Kim. Who is Kim? We're not going to get into the restaurant yet. I just want them to know this amazing woman, Kimberly Ellis.
Well, I am like everybody else. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. I'm a sister. I'm a daughter. I'm a friend. Um, I am an elder. And all of those roles, have job descriptions. And if I claim or align myself with them, then I feel like, I should adhere to the job description. So um, for me, I just, I want to do good. I want to, when I meet people, I want them to leave better than when they arrived. And I just think overall, it doesn't cost a lot to have a kind word for somebody. It doesn't, take anything from you to extend yourself to just be kind or generous. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to. I don't, Nicole. Darn you! I don't know. I don't know.
Let me tell you guys. So this woman is so humble. She's so humble. She always, her description. Wife. She is a powerhouse in her own right.
I wasn't
Let
going.
me tell you. The first time I ever heard her speak in public, I was like, "Is this the same person?" So she could be your motivational speaker. What you need her to be? That's what she is.
I think we all do that. You do the same thing. I think we all, we do what we need to do when we need to do it. I think that's showing up is half the battle. So, yeah.
Well, you definitely do show up, and we definitely do appreciate you.
Right.
So, with that being said, and knowing that you wear all these other hats, then the other hat that you wear is chef and owner of Breaking Bread. So,
Yeah.
tell us a little bit. How did that even come into play? How did you know that this was your destiny? This is what you were supposed to be doing.
Well, I always cooked. It wasn't. I have a really close personal relationship with food. Like I like it a lot. Um, I do. Like,
And let me just say this: I like your food a lot too.
oh, thank you. No, you know what? I really, really like it. I'm gonna tell you a joke before I tell you anything else. So my son turned 24, and we went. I rented a house, and we all left to go hang out. And I went and bought these little cakes so I could cook them with my granddaughters for him. And so they were like cheap little cakes, but I was so mad when I made them. Like everybody was getting on my nerves. And so the cake came out horrible. And my daughter said, "See, you see what happened when you don't make it with love? You see what happened?" I was like, oh my God, it was so true. But I've always loved food. Like it cooking wasn't a chore for me. Like I grew up, I'm a Baltimore girl. I like to say I'm an oxymoron because I grew up as well in the military. My dad was Air Force, so I had the privilege of traveling the world and seeing different environments and seeing different, you know, things and people, which is a privilege. Um, but we can talk about that aspect later. But one of the things growing up here, my grandparents always fished and farmed and crabbed, and so that was always just who we were. We had dinner together every night. Saturday mornings, you wake up to gospel music and you cleaning the baseboards. But my grandmother's in there, making tomato gravy and, fried catfish and grits for breakfast. So our food is always, I don't know, like it is what it is. But I wind up um, having the opportunity transitioning from healthcare to really do something different. And it was really, I want to say divine intervention. I'm one of those people
Mhm.
that, I may want to do something different, but if I'm comfortable, it's hard to really move. And so I find that at the most times for most things that are major for me, God has always intervened and created a space where that transition had to happen organically. And if I were ever going to do it, I could choose to, stay or jump at that time. But it's kind of like, when you see what is it, the trapeze where they go close together and you have that
Uh-huh.
opportunity to grab onto the next one, or you just go back to your base. And when he allowed my trapeze to go forward, I grabbed the next rung and kept
And
it
just
moving.
kept on moving.
Yeah.
Mm, isn't that amazing? How many
Oh,
times do we hear the call of God and you mean us, God, like right now, and try to shy away from it, but you took it by the horns and went full throttle. So that's amazing. So you took it by the throttle, and then that brought you to Breaking Bread Nation.
yes. So,
Well, first you were in no, first you started in farmers markets, right?
yeah. So initially, full circle, I had done reentry for 25 years. I was considered an expert in reentry for the state of Maryland for about 25 years. And then I transitioned to healthcare and I was working C suite healthcare for, I want to say about 5 to 7 years. And during that time, it was, I had lost one of my best friends since I was in high school, since I was 14 to breast cancer and wound up transitioning her. My husband at the time was getting sick and it was just, I don't know, like I was ready. And so when everything transitioned for me, I got sick. And in my recovery, I was just like, I'm never going back. I don't want to do what I didn't love to do. And that was something that I had always told my clients when I was teaching in nonprofit. And reentry was that there at any point you should stop what you're doing just to make money and find out what you can do that you really, really enjoy and find a way
Mm,
to monetize that. And that would be anything across the board. Like for me, there's nothing off limits. Like there's nothing I can't do. If anybody else can do it, then I can do it. If I, am willing to dedicate my time and energy to it and focus. And so from my hospital bed, literally we made Breaking Bread. I wrote it on a dry erase board. I wrote Breaking Bread, June 1st. A dream is a goal with a deadline and a plan. And a quote from Maya Angelou that said, "In God I live and move and have my being." And that was really the start of it. I called friends of mine who were still working at Care First because I had transitioned over to AmeriHealth in DC. And so the people that I knew in Care First who were here, I would call and be like, well, I'm doing dinners on Friday. And if you give me 10 orders, I give you yours free. And so they hustle, the 10 people would be like, she could cook. But even that's scary because, it's always, food's always great when it's free, but you put a price tag on it, be like, I don't know what she's thinking. It ain't that good. So, you never want to put yourself out there. And for me, when I cook for people, I'm giving you a part of myself, like literally. Like I'm very anxious about how it's received. I'm very concerned about, if it will be received as I'm trying to deliver it. And so for me, it materialized where my son had graduated with his trade in culinary school, and right when we were opening the restaurant. And so we went from farmers markets and food festivals to needing to get a building because we were getting catering jobs. And it just took off. It really, I can't say enough about how this is really nothing but providence and God. Like, don't look at me. Look at what God's done for me and know that he can do it for you. Like, this has nothing to do with me. I'm just the vessel in which he uses so that I can tell other people who come from where I come from, who, bootstrap themselves and, who come from marginalized situations, who come from the inner city, who come from, places where they don't think we can ascend to those levels. Like, if you put in the work, God does the rest. I mean, at least that's been the case for me. So, yeah.
Well, recently we've all been facing this COVID situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the reasons why I had you on, because a lot of places had to actually physically close down because of COVID. Everything from the funding of stimulus and the funding of stimulus and unemployment. So I guess my question number one is, did you find it difficult to find and maintain staff? And the second part of that was, how did you make it through this COVID period?
So we are a family restaurant to start. Most of my staff has been with me since we were doing farmers markets and food festivals. So we are all family, blood or not blood. And so when COVID hit, it really just reinforces. It's kind of like when people talk about money. If you get a large sum of money, it just enhances your real personality. So COVID allowed people to really show what they were about. And so for us, we were able to, get closer together. We created a pod where, our staff wasn't taking public transportation. We were picking each other up, making sure everybody went to a shift together, and then we take the next shift home, so on and so forth. We would buy 40 pounds of chicken, but we're not selling 40 pounds of chicken because of the pandemic. So we're allowing our staff to shop groceries. You take a couple pounds of potatoes and a couple pounds of chicken home. So your peoples can cook for you. You have food. You don't have to worry about, money, because our staff, even with being a full service restaurant, we weren't getting tips from outside because it wasn't allowed to have sit-in dining. So, that was a huge component. We maintained everybody's salary. I didn't take a salary. But we did maintain salary for everyone. We didn't let anyone go for issues of the pandemic. With regard to funding for us, I mean, we're like most small businesses. We didn't get, the big money. We were actually denied initially. And so for the second round of the second offering of the first round of the PPP, I think we were in line to get like 50 and they gave us 12. And so, like, after
what can you do with 12 and you have a whole staff? And
We made it work. Look, 7 fishes. What was it? And 2 loaves of bread.
How about that?
Look,
Come
you
on now.
ain't no secret what God can do. I swear. I cannot tell you how we are where we are given what's happened. Like, just to see restaurants that I would go to historically that are no longer here, to see people who opened after we opened who are no longer here. And that really, that's just, I think that's the fruit of our labor. I think that, our customers and our guests, or, however you want to, call that demographic, really invested in us the way we invested in them. Like, we had people who were calling regularly for takeout and dine in. And to be honest, I never like quarantined because the restaurant was allowed to stay open. So as long as I could stay open, we stayed open. But we were able to do food donations to, hospitals and firehouses. And it was funny because everybody was talking about doctors and nurses, and we gave the shock trauma doctors, we gave the shock trauma nurses, but I went in and we donated to the custodial services.
Yes.
Because those
Thank
people
you.
are the ones, nobody thinks about them, but that
Right.
to me is the highest level of service in a hospital. That person goes and they do the most for the least.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me is appreciated. So, we wanted to make sure that they were taken care of. And then people would call and be like, I want to donate meals. And it just really allowed us to service a need and still be able to have a business. I mean, it's not, I guess, good business sense to say what our mission is, but we're mission over money every single day. Every single day. Money comes and goes, but there's no way in hell I would let a kid be hungry. I would let, some old person not have anything to eat, or when we have a restaurant full of food. Like, that just made no sense. So, yeah, I mean, it was interesting, the dynamics to watch, who got money, who didn't get money. But at the end of the day, we still went in every day. We did what we could with what we had, and we're blessed to still be here.
I truly believe that it that to be a blessing. What do I always say? It is a blessing to be a blessing.
Ain't it though?
And so your blessings come from you being a blessing. And because you were doing it not for any kind of selfish type of reward, but rather to help the people, I truly believe that that's why your doors are still open.
Yeah,
So.
we got us a commendation, a Mayor's Recognition Award for the business for 2020 for our contributions during COVID. But we think we've given out over 40 plus thousand meals.
Wow.
Since COVID. And it's good. Like, we go to one location and the lady called and said her son doesn't eat anything. She said, every meal you bring, he eats. She was like, would you just be able to do like a meal plan for me?
Listen.
Yeah, like when I see these people lined up and I know those are my people. Like, I'm a person who lives by moral obligation. I'm morally obligated to help somebody who doesn't have what I have if I'm in a position to do so. And so just to know that these people are getting, like, our meals are made fresh. We do like chicken cacciatore. We do stuffed chicken with string beans, chipotle rice bowls, and we make everything fresh in-house. We're not processing a bunch of stuff. We're not fabricating a bunch of stuff. Everything we make, we get in, we butcher in-house. We break it down, we process it, and we make it, and we serve it. And I don't know. I'm thankful for that opportunity.
Honestly, I'm not just saying that. She didn't pay me to say this, y'all, but when I tell you that breaking bread food is everything, and my husband is one of those picky eaters, and he is one of those people that he'll go to the restaurant and bring the food home and he has to doctor it up. But when I tell you, when I get breaking bread food, whew, it's on and popping. It's definitely made with love. Say that again.
Food Network did say we number one.
Let me tell you, I am in agreement because that food is on and popping. Oh, I was just thinking, like before I came, I was like, I haven't had one of the burgers, and then I had just like everything that I've eaten, even down to the mac and cheese, to the wings, of course the sticky wings. Oh,
You're gonna have to get it soon because I think we're gonna wind up shutting down towards mid-June until we open our new location. So we'll be able
wow.
to do catering, but we won't be doing any more day-to-day service either. It's either gonna be the first or the second week of June.
Okay.
Really focus on getting the new building open, and that's exciting because we're gonna have a commercial kitchen where we can hold our classes, and we can utilize our humanity program and grow that out, which is really important in terms of what our overall mission is. So just to have that opportunity for people in different organizations to come, like you and your organizations and Emmy, and people to come and utilize the space.
Man, let me tell you, I am not just saying this, but Kim opened up the space to me and my mentees and said, "Come on." And she welcomed them. She came and spoke to them and told them a little bit about the history of the restaurant, why they do what they do, and a little bit about cooking. And it was just amazing because our children need to see these positive faces in all types of career choices, because we want to make sure that they know that their options are big. We want them to dream big, right? And so with dreaming big, Kim, that might not have been a dream of yours eventually, but had you, I mean, when you were a little girl, but had you seen that, you saw what your grandmother did, and then you
Yeah.
took your passion and you turned it into your purpose. And that's why the food tastes so good.
But it's funny when I was just going to tell you I was doing I had to update my business plan, and because we were looking at a new revenue stream. And so I was looking at statistics, and one of the things that um, someone had said was the fact that there are only 7% of women chef owners
Mm,
in the world. And I was like, what? And I'm like, okay. And then less than, I believe, 4% of them are minority. And
wow.
I'm like, it's it's always weird to me when people talk about like you're in rare air, because I think about the fact that I'm just as regular as anybody else. I'm just as, average as anybody else. And I just really think, like you said, our kids seeing us do it, but not just seeing us do it, hearing the struggle about what we're going through to do it, because it's not easy. And you may want to make it look glamorous on social media, and you're all glossy and filtered, but at the end of the day, I'm sitting here like this, sweaty in my gear. Why? Because I just put in you know a 12-hour day. I'm going to be waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning tomorrow to go in and prep for catering and to get everything set up. So it's real. I work holidays, I work weekends, but I love what I do. Like, I love it. And for anybody who thinks about, like, don't get me wrong, there's security in having and working for somebody else. There really is. But in my heart of hearts, I really believe that God gave us all something. When He gave those talents, there is something within you that you are supposed to
Mhm.
bring forth. And you don't have to necessarily monetize it for yourself, but it is a way for you to do what you love and feel fulfilled, and not sacrifice, that for money or power or things of that nature. Like, it's just, I'm so much
Yeah.
happier now doing what I do, even with the stress of it all, than I've ever been working for somebody else, no matter how big the paychecks were, no matter how bougie the office was, how cliquish the title was. It just is no comparison.
We're going to get into that a little bit more because I really want to talk to some of our entrepreneurs that are on the line. So many times we are like, we could just go and work this 9 to 5 and come home and not have to worry about anything. But if that is our calling and that's our passion, then we are doing a disservice to ourselves, not to follow in those footsteps. So we're going to talk about that when we come back. But we do have some comments. S. Monique says, "Good evening, everyone." Hi, S. Monique. How you doing? Daryl says, "Yes, live and work in your purpose." Yes, I feel like we should be clapping to that one. And Nicole Bennett Jones says, "Praise God."
All
Yeah.
day, every day.
Yes. She also said God will have favor when you bless others. Yes, that is so true.
I can say that for sure.
And Destiny says, "Yes, those sticky
What's
wings."
up, Niecy Pooh? Oh, so listen, I was thinking about what you said about health is wealth. And I went to Philly and saw this thing by Benjamin Franklin, and it said, "Health is not for those who have it, but for those who use it." And I think about how hard we work and how hard we struggle. And the whole concept is that we're built for this. We're built for the ruggedness, the sacrifices, and everything. But that is not what we were built for. Like, even when you talk about Proverbs and the virtuous woman, she got a lot of stuff on her plate, but there's also a place for her, to rest. And so when people talk about, leaving their jobs and stuff like this, like, I am dead set on letting people know, yes, if you take one step, God will take two. But you got to give God something to magnify and manifest. You can't just say, oh, I want to do this, or, oh, I think I'm good at that. Like, really pray about it. Be really, mindful in your, and, put it out there, because sometimes, and this is something that could have been terrible, like it would have destroyed my business. We tried for a number of years to buy the property that we were in Washington Boulevard, and it had a slew of problems. And the landlord was unbearable. He was terrible. And I remember praying about, getting the building, and then you get, kind of shady lenders who, well, if you do this, we can get that. And so you could get it, but you kind of like selling your soul for it. And I remember like it getting to the end of last year when our lease was up, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. And people will talk about, but you prayed about it. But just because I prayed about it doesn't mean it's an automatic yes. Like, sometimes God says no.
And he has something better in store for you.
Yeah, but you got to accept that no. People assume just because they pray for it and other people are praying it, okay, I'm going to pray my way into it. But if that's not what he has for you, then you're praying for your own demise. Sometimes God is like, no. And you need to accept that no and value that no, and know that no isn't a hard no. It's a not now. And wait. And because we waited, I mean, a slew of opportunities opened up for us that I never would have imagined would have happened had we stayed. And within maybe less than 2 weeks of us leaving the building, the city came through and condemned the building.
Wow.
Now imagine if I would have went and bought the building. I would have bought that building with all of the issues, with all of the trouble. For what?
Well, we're going to hold it right there, and we're going to take a brief break. So keep it locked right here well, first, make sure that you don't forget to share this. Share, because Kimberly Ellis has a story like no other. She is amazing, and we want to make sure that we get her out to everybody we can so that they can visit Brick and Bread before they temporarily close for what God has in store for them. So keep it locked right here to Empowered Women in Business International Radio. Empowered Women in Business International. We serve a sisterhood of women entrepreneurs and professionals who understand that individually we could do great things, but collectively we can forever change the world. Members of our movement experience a support system that allows them to celebrate their wins and share their struggles in a series of opportunities that enhance them personally and professionally. If that sounds like an organization that you would like to be a part of, visit our website at www.ewbiradio.org. Are you a small business or even a person that's just thinking about starting a business? Well, this organization is right for you. We offer micro grants and we even highlight our members on our radio show, EWBI Radio, which airs on Elevate Your Life Talk Radio every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Tune in. Welcome back. Welcome back. We do have one more advertisement. The flyer, we're going to put the flyer up in a second, and then we'll come back to our interview with the lovely Kimberly Ellis. Welcome back. Let's see if we are able to get that flyer up. If not, I can just tell you a little bit about the flyer. And let's see if I can just pull that flyer right on up. So one of our members, Nicole Bennett Jones, I think I said that backwards, is hosting a fundraiser for she's hosting a fundraiser for overseas and an organization in particular. And so she's collecting money for, oh, there we go, Lamb Legacy Charity Drive. So Nicole Jones is collecting money to help support this organization. They will be sending a large amount of chemical-free sanitary napkins over to women in, does it say it on here? I believe it's Africa. I'll just get clarification. If Nicole, if you're listening, just put the link in our comment section and tell them where the donations are going to be going. But this is a collaboration with Nicole Jones and the missionary Loretta Jackson with Lamb Legacy Charity Drive, and they are collecting funds to send chemical-free sanitary napkins overseas. She did share with me that with these chemical-free sanitary napkins, it will really bless the people that they're going to, because they have been using, sometimes they don't go to work or school because they don't have the proper tools. They've been using things like leaves and other things that shouldn't be in those areas. So we want to make sure that we help to bless them so that they can use these chemical-free sanitary napkins. We do have another comment. Damon says, Belmont Elementary produces superstars, and I need the best turkey burger in town.
Sure we do.
So, Kim, back to you. So we were just talking a little bit about how tough it is to be an entrepreneur. There is a silver lining, but it takes some work to get to being able to be a entrepreneur. And like you said, God gave you the vision, but you had to put in the work to get there.
Definitely.
And I think, say that again.
I said definitely.
And I think some people see entrepreneurship as, oh, well, I get to clock in when I want and clock out when I want. And they see the good side, but we understand that along with that entrepreneurship, comes the hard work. What would you tell to those, the ones looking and saying, I just want to be able to clock in when I want and clock out when I want?
Well, I know I didn't want to clock in at 5 o'clock this morning, just like I'm not going to want to clock in at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. However, I work at the liberty of my customer, so I have no choice but to do what needs to be done. One of the biggest things I will say about entrepreneurship is the fact that it is more than just doing what you like to do, and creating a cost for it and having someone say, okay, well, even as simple as saying, okay, I can paint a picture, I'll paint the picture and I'll sell it to you. And then, that's my business. It's really about, you know, the numbers and like, learning to work on your business and not necessarily in your business. And so for most entrepreneurs, because we don't come from a background of business per se, we come from a position of passion and knowing we want to do something or having a desire to do something. But, the devil is in the details. You need to know about branding and marketing and taxes and requirements. And those aren't things that are necessarily told to you or given to you. I will say that when we started, um, the Main Street Association was one who was supposed to support, businesses on the boulevard. And we were getting repeated, um, like health department inspections. Generally, you're in line for one every 6 months. I think we got maybe 3 to 4 in our first 2 months. And it was somebody in the office who was, calling them to the point where we had to go down there and take the actual health inspector. I'm like, is there anything else you want to say to him? And he's like, oh, no, that's anonymous. I'm like, okay, well, this is anonymous. Is there anything else you want to say? Um, from the level of fines that the city gives you to your requirements, your sales and use tax, your filing, like really think about the overall structure of your business, what you're able to put into it, how much time you're willing to put into it. Because just the doing what you like part, that's the easy part. It's about making sure, you know, your cost of goods ratio is in line with, your on hand cash, because you don't want to create, and sell your art and undermine yourself. You don't want to be like, we don't want to be the cheapest caterers out here. I want to be the best caterer out here, but I don't necessarily need to be the most expensive, but I want to charge what I feel I'm worth and
Mm-hmm.
understand that I'm worth it. And that's hard for a lot of us. We undervalue ourselves, we undermine ourselves because we're not valued. To be totally honest, in any aspect of society, you can see the marginalization and the depreciation, I will say, of Black and brown people and for what we produce. And you may love what we produce, you just don't necessarily love the producer. I'll put it that way. And so it's always an uphill battle, but you got to be fortified. It has to be something that you want to do, that you would do
For free.
hell yeah, because I didn't get paid, and I was still, waking up and going in and eating what's in the restaurant because I didn't have money to go buy something else, and using my personal car, and it was a lot, but it was a labor of love, and it was something that I'm so very proud of now. I'm so proud of the legacy that we built, not just within the family, because once I started as an entrepreneur, it inspired my daughter to have her own business. My son-in-law quit his job and made his own business that is now very successful in Richmond.
Awesome.
My sister-in-law started her own business and wound up quitting her corporate training position to do her business full time. So those are things, when I look at our grandkids and our kids, we're looking at legacy building, and that's a lot different, than what my mom and them had, where you had to, cower down just to make sure you could feed your kids. Like, my sons never have to worry about going to somebody and asking them for a raise to feed their family. Like, they have skill sets that they can monetize and do what they need to do and feed their family, and know if you're going to hustle that hard for somebody else, grind for your own and see
Yes.
what turns out. So they my motivation every single day.
Mm, that's awesome. That is awesome. So, let's shift gears just a little bit and let's talk a little bit about humanity.
Okay.
So, tell our audience what humanity is and how much community service it does.
Um, Well, Humanity is our nonprofit arm of Breaking Bread. And it really is about the humanity of food and what we do to each other and how we respond and react to each other. Initially it started just, with food donations and things like that. It evolved into a 5-week program where we do classes that deal with budgeting. I think the time when we first initiated the class, it was during a time when subsidy for a family of four or more was like $200 a month. And so we would budget out $50 a month. We had a relationship with a local supermarket where we would go and do a tour. And so the heads of the department would come out and talk about fresh versus frozen, store brand versus, name brand, unit pricing, and all of those things really, can save you a lot of money if you understand the difference of them. So, um, our program won us an elevation award. It then evolved to another award where we were sent to California to compete, and we won the competition there. But it's at the end they prepare a journal, so it talks about, like, relationships with food, because some people, you're taught to not eat everything on your plate. Some women are taught, you don't eat everything, or you want to be dainty, and some kids, you don't have enough food, you have food insecurities. And so even just journaling, like, we see kids who will come on and be like, I didn't like Brussels sprouts, but I found out they're little cabbage, and my mom and I put cranberries in them and baked them, and they were great. Like, that's in a journal now. And so 20 years from now, when that person's cooking with their kid, this is something that me and my mom did. And now you and I can add pages to this. And the program in and of itself, it increases school grades. It lessens children's proclivity for drug abuse, for premarital sex. It increases self-esteem. Kids who eat dinner with family, at least, 2 to 3 times a week, have a less propensity to be involved in crime or gangs, to do with, smoking drugs or alcohol. Like, it's nothing but positive effects. And the only thing I could really say is that if dinner with your family wasn't so important, countries wouldn't have state dinners to solidify partnerships. It really is about breaking bread. It is as simple as that. When you have, it's no way possible that you could be in a adversarial relationship over good food. Somebody bonded. Somebody's gonna and oh my god, or something. You break the ice, or you cook something that reminds someone of home. But food is such a personal and visceral thing for so many people, that it really is. It's something that's unique, but general in the same kind of sense. Um, we were featured front page of the Baltimore Sun, and I went to Restaurant Depot to do some supplies, and I got in line, and the lady at the register was like, "You were in the paper." And I said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "My daughter and I cut your picture out and put it on her wall of inspiration." She said,
Yes.
when they found women who did that, I was like, the guy behind me, he was like, "Are you crying?" I was like, "You have no idea. Like, that's better than any award anybody could have ever gave me. That, some young sister sees me as motivation. Like, that gives me encouragement. That makes me stand taller, walk prouder, work harder, do better, because that's who I do it for. I do it so that those who don't have, those who considered they couldn't, those who were told they shouldn't, know that no one stops you but you. Nobody. Nobody. So, yeah.
Mm.
Like, you've seen it done. Like, people open up restaurants all the time. I tell people all the time, you've seen it done. You've just never seen it done like this. That's all it
I
is.
know that's right. We
That's
need
the only thing.
the little snap, this little snap clack behind that. You seen it done, but you haven't seen it done like this.
Yeah. And now
So
it's so many other entrepreneurs out here. Like, I feel so fortified seeing so many, like, you've always done it. You've always been, really civic minded, community oriented, you work hard for your family. Like, it's nothing but, like, I'm not an isolated thing. And it just amazes me. Like, we get a lot of shine, and I'm appreciative of it. But, like, yo, I'm like, it's so many other people out here that just blaze a trail that makes me so proud to be in the midst. Like, I feel like we're in a renaissance of sorts where we're able to really do for ourselves, and do good for ourselves, not just, perpetuate the myth of a black business being, negative and this and that. No, like black business is a badge of pride. Like you come in here, this is how we do respect. Like, yeah, you like it like this? Yeah, this is black business. You like
Yeah.
food? Yeah, this is black business. That's what I want people to understand because we go to every other area and we're, you know, we do what we have to do. We sit, we enjoy whatever, but we create a space for us. And humanity is really about building consensus and building relationships and growing people through food.
Mm-hmm. Mm. I like it. I like it a lot.
I trademarked it.
I know that's right. I know that's right. So, back to Kimberly,
Oh God.
because you wear so many hats, you know, chef, mom, wife. Oh my goodness, so many hats. Eastern Star sister.
Yes.
I mean, so many hats. Um, what do you do for your downtime? What does your self-care look like?
You know what? I was just talking about that. So at the first of the year, I had made a commitment that I would look at every day as a new year. Um, being that, generally you make a New Year's resolution and by like the third or fourth month, it's just like, fuck, I'm tired. Like it's not working. I didn't do it for the past 3 weeks, so I'm not doing it anymore. But I really try to look at each day as a new year where I'm just as motivated and I'm just as eager to, fulfill my goals. I generally try to find something within that day that makes me happy. It's not something that, I try to plan out for months, I'm going to take this or I'm going to do that. Like, I may get a massage once a month. Um, but during the course of a day, I may take a walk, for 30 minutes and just really walking, especially like in the parks and stuff, does something for me because it really allows you to see how small you are in the grand
Mhm.
scheme of things. Like, I'm under this big sky and these trees and all this water, and I'm like the size of an ant if you're looking at me from the sky. So it's not that bad. Or I really like good food. So I may treat myself to a good meal, but it's little things. I like bubble gum. So I'll go find, go to a good candy store and get me some really good bubble gum. But it's just little things that I think fortify us because tomorrow's not promised. Don't wait, my 50th birthday is in September and I, want to plan something, but I don't want to wait that long to celebrate myself because that's not promised to me. Today was given to me and this is the
Come
only
on now.
I have. And so I'm going to find some way to be grateful and glad and, you know, just even if it's a nice cocktail. Cheers, 5 o'clock somewhere. Thank you. The ability to do that. Sometimes cut out early, 2 o'clock,
Mhm.
leave and let it worry about itself tomorrow. But yeah, I think it's the little blessings are what helped me get through.
Mm. So what okay, so what is the what was the last book that you read?
Hmm. The last I want to say Beloved by Michelle Obama.
Mm.
And I actually had to listen to the rest of our audiobook, so that's full disclosure. Um, yeah, so I did the Goldman Sachs program last year, and so that took up a lot of time. That was a lot of studying. Um, but really, like most of the stuff I'm into now is really just about um, business and
Mhm.
people like me. Like I like, the old romance and Eric Jerome Dickey just as much as anybody else. But now I'm a lot more into things that are inspirational and motivating because I don't have that much time. And so
Right.
being able to just, get some snippets here and there and feel encouraged is always great.
Awesome. 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 Man, so Kim, our hour is just steeping
I
past
could not
so
believe
fast.
that. And I was like, oh my God, it's an hour. I don't have nothing to say for an hour. And I'm like, yeah, I talk somebody ear off. So, it is what
No, this has been good information. Like our entrepreneurs need to hear the true struggle and the true like what it takes, and I'm going to make it no matter what type of message that you brought forth today, and that's just amazing. Like We gotta hear that. We need to hear that. We need to be in them books reading different things that's going to motivate us and keep us moving during those down times. We need organizations like EWBI, our sisters, that try to help. We see you falling by the wayside, or start thinking about, I don't know if I'm cut out for this, and we can
Yep.
grab you by the hand and we can say, look, we are going to do this and you are not alone. We're going to help you make it through. However you need to, whatever that looks like, we're going to help you to make it through. So it's important for us to have these messages. It's important for us to have these different media outlets also, and that's why we highlight different business owners. We highlight different business owners because we want them to for people to, number one, be able to see them. Like you said, in the grand scheme of things, we're like that little tiny ant. And so everybody, doesn't know what each person is doing. So our mission is to highlight that person, in hopes that we will bring you additional support with whatever that looks like, whether it's more customers or whether it's somebody that says, I want to volunteer for humanity, whatever that looks like, we want to bring it to you. And we use our platform to do so. So we
Well,
thank you.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I do want to just say, if people have questions, like, reach out to entrepreneurs. Like, people think, like, I wouldn't advise coming into the restaurant to ask me about my business at noon, because, like, that's my rush time. But, like, we are so willing, just collectively. Like, anytime I've had questions, like, we really are receptive. We want to share. It's never been, you know, I'm not going to tell you my trade secret because I'm threatened. Like, what's for me is for me, period, hands down, the end. And so we all collectively are better when everybody around us is better. And so if you're going to represent and be a Black business, I want you to be successful. I want to patronize you, not because you are a Black business, but because you are a great business. And so as entrepreneurs, look for ways to really hone your craft. Like, if you're going to do it, take your time, research it, hone it, so that when you start and when God starts blessing you, you're not running around looking for buckets. Like, you ready. You like, all right, I'm gonna catch it like a shortstop. Like, you
Mhm.
always, you on that bend where you're ready. Because I can only speak for myself. When God, when I made a move and he said it was good, I could not keep up with the blessings. Like, sometimes I just had to sit and laugh because it got so dark and you don't know anything. And it gets to the point where, you're scared to take a step. But it just got to the point where no matter which way I went, every time I took a step, it was firm ground. So I started to be more assured in my stroll. And no matter what I did, he always made sure that things worked out, for the good. And as long as I did my part and stayed true to who we said we were, it's been a joyous ride. It's been a blessing. It's been interesting. It's been scary. It's been it's been amazing. It's really been amazing.
And like I said, y'all, you have to go try breaking bread.
Yeah,
When I
so
tell you,
down.
let me tell you, we went on a retreat and Kim was like, oh, I'm cooking the whole time. And when I tell you, I probably came back 10 pounds heavier because that food was so good. I mean, morning, noon, and night, we had Kim's cooking and she made it with love.
Yeah,
Mm,
that's how you
mm.
supposed to. Don't be making no angry food. Come out like my cakes over the weekend. No point. They were terrible, yo. Oh my God, Nicole, they were so so no.
So if anybody wants to reach out to you, whether they want to order or whatever the case may be, how would they do so?
Well, breakingbreadnation.com is our website. Breaking Bread across all social media platforms. And you also go to the links that are within the actual website. And I keep saying website because it took me, no lie, I would say 4 years to develop a website. Like, it was just, I wouldn't even send people to my website. So now we have an official website, which is, I'm telling you, hone your craft. Um, that would be our social media information. You can feel free to call the restaurant 443-708-1903 or email eat@breakingbreadnation.com. for any catering needs, speaking engagements, etc., etc. Whatever you guys need, let us know.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kim, for being on the show. We definitely have to have you come back again.
Get my
She's
camera.
showing off her breaking bread shirt.
I'm
Her
trying to do it.
awesome.
You see, I ain't really savvy. I'm trying to show it. All right.
We see that breaking bread. That's awesome. And her son made the logo for her.
Yes. So the funny part is, I didn't know when I put fingernail polish on the fingernails. I thought it was me, but he used his brother's hand. So inside joke. I know.
Well, that's what family is for. So thank you each and every one of you guys for tuning in this evening. It has truly been a pleasure to have Kim on deck with us this evening. And I just thank you all from the bottom of my heart from tuning in. Don't forget to let everybody else know that you know to tune in every Tuesday at 7 o'clock, because we have some amazing people on, and we don't have enough networks that are highlighting the positivity. We turn to TV and radio and we hear all this negative things going on in our community, but we do have a lot of positive, and EWBI, as long as I have breath, will continue to spotlight all of the positivity going on in our communities. So we have an awesome guest for you next week. So don't forget to visit, and don't forget to visit our website at www.ewbiradio.org. Check us out on social media. We're on Facebook and IG under Empowered Women in Business International. Um, don't forget to keep it locked every Tuesday right here at 7 o'clock on Empowered Women in Business International on Elevate Your Life Talk radio station. And we're going to close as we always do. Individually, we can do great things, but collectively, we can forever change the world by Nick Mosby.